Hey everybody, how's it going? I am attorney Michael Eline, and I am here to talk to you a little bit about what's going on the 4th of July. So hopefully you guys are having a good 4th so far. And I'm really grateful that I had an opportunity to spend some time with you on the 4th of July. As you guys know, I'm an attorney licensed in California and Texas, and that I believe in civil rights and I support the constitutional republic, that I served in the Marine Corps, that I wanted to fight communism and do all these things to help make America a better place for your kids and the kids of everyone else. And so I hope you guys are all having a really terrific 4th of July. And let me just look in the sidebar and thank all my friends for showing up today. Hey, BZ, good seeing you, buddy. Hey guys, the BZ Watchdog showed up today. I'm kind of shocked because I thought he was going to be out cop watching.
I just got done, fool. The dog is always watching. You don't even see my face, but I'm watching. Oh,
hell yeah. So I was going to go out today and do some cop watching myself, but you can see my camera's broken on my phone. I don't know if you can see that, but it's totally broken.
Excuses to the concentration camp.
It's an excuse, and I agree with that. And I think that I need to make penance right now because I feel so guilty about this. So just give me a second here because I have to present you guys with this situation that's going on. Because I think the BZ Watchdog is right, that it's just an excuse. And guess what, guys? There's no such thing as excuses. When a police officer asks you, what do you ask? What do you answer when he asks?
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers? To the concentration camp with you.
Oh man, so
the first thing you do is invoke your fifth.
Yeah. Look, I'm super grateful to have you guys here, and I know that BZ likes it when I do live streams that are more like Cop Watch or Post Office Watch. But hey, man, it's the 4th of July, and I am a lawyer and I'm a natural law guy, and I really, really appreciate our founding fathers. And I'm sick and tired of the narrative that America is a democracy, because we're not. And our founding fathers, and based upon what I've read, hated the whole concept of democracy. They didn't even want people to be able to vote unless they had a stake in what they were voting for. Because right now, if you go up to like San Francisco and you see these dudes walking around naked in front of kids, if you're a parent, you don't want those people to be able to vote, to be able to be around your kids. And that's the problem. And so the idea of a republic was to obviate that problem, because under a constitutional republic, you didn't have that problem, because there were unalienable rights that each individual had that were inherent based upon natural law and John Locke. And that's why I was kind of hoping I would have Brick on today. But BZ, you can kind of, I gave you the link if he wants to join us.
Yeah. Hold on, because I just got off the phone with him when I jumped on. So
yeah, I'd really like to have him on, because I know that Brick Jonesy is a real natural law theorist, and he's spent far more time than I have studying the whole topic. And of course, among even natural law theorists, you're going to have disputes and disagreements. But the idea is, the concept is that we believe that all human beings have natural rights that are inherent, that are God granted. And because they're granted by your creator, they can't be taken away by the government. And that's why big corporations like BlackRock and even social media companies like Facebook, for example, they don't like the idea of inherent unalienable rights, because it hurts their bottom line. The idea is, if you get enough likes and subscribes and enough social media presence, that means that you're in the majority and you're popular, just like high school, right? Remember the bully in high school that was popular and all the people that got picked on that you laughed at? That's what a democracy is. And so a republic remedied that problem. And so we're going to talk about that today while we wait, hopefully, for Brick to join us. But in the interim, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a video that I found that I really think is really awesome. And look, I'm not a total Dennis Prager fanatic or anything like that.
Yeah,
but this video is really good, and it looks kind of like it's one of those videos that's like one of those AI kind of videos. So it probably isn't even really something that's from him, but it's really, really good. And I want to share it with you. So let's go ahead and kick off the 4th of July together. But first, I just want to go ahead and say, hey, what's going on, Stacy? Thank you for all your kind comments. And Stacy, honestly, I do want to have a legacy, and I do want people to care about me after I'm dead. But the most important people that matter to me are the people who support the Republic, because I'm leaving behind 2 human beings that I helped procreate. And I would love it if they had an opportunity to grow up in an America like we did back in the 80s, when it was just an amazing time when you could go outside. There weren't illegal aliens prowling the streets that were released from a Venezuelan prison, that were invited here by our own government with taxpayer money. And it was just an amazing, amazing place. And I really want to share with you the history of where we came from as Americans before we were replaced with foreigners from civil law democracies. And so part of what I like to teach when I teach people how to become lawyers without law school is American common law. So American common law, yes, sir.
Backstage.
Yes, and he's in. So, hey, Brick, good seeing you, buddy. So, and of course, Brick might have a different opinion, and that's why I have him here. But America, hey, brother. But America was based upon the concept that we had unalienable, inherent individual rights that were granted to us by our Creator, and that came from John Locke. So the first thing I'm going to do before we get into all these discussions on this amazing Independence Day, and some people say I think it was July 2nd, other people say it was July 4th, but I'm sure Brick knows for sure. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to get into this video really quick.
Mark Hamill just did a Twitter feed, said it should be January 6th with the flag upside down.
Mark Hamill, is that the communist who was in the Star Wars movies?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't really care what that piece of garbage has to say. Let's go ahead and get this thing added really quick.
Hey,
So
where's Brick's papers at?
Where is Brick, man? Big B.
I have no papers.
You have no papers? Was ist los?
Brick papers, Brick.
Hey,
My
I
God.
have no ID. What you talking about?
What you talking about, fool? Here we go, guys.
At the close of the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia in 1787, legend has it that a woman called out to Benjamin Franklin to ask what kind of government the delegates had created. Franklin responded, "A republic, madam, if you can keep it." A republic? Shouldn't Franklin have said a democracy? Isn't that what we have in the United States? Most people today would say yes. After all, if our country isn't a democracy, what is it? It's not a dictatorship, the rule of one man, or an oligarchy
Tell
ruled
me
by
if
a
you want
small
me to
group.
stop, Brick or BZ.
In America, the people are in charge. That's literally what democracy means in the original
That's a
Greek.
lie.
Demos, kratos. The people, demos, rule, kratos. But let's pause for a moment and consider more deeply what the word means in practice and why the delegates in Philadelphia rejected it. That's right, rejected it. Our government was established by a national charter, the Constitution of the United States. We are governed by the institutions and according to the rules and principles created and adopted when our forebears ratified that document, making it the supreme law of the land.
Okay.
Are those institutions, properly speaking, democratic? The men who bequeathed our form of government to us, those we call our founding fathers, didn't see it that way.
That's right.
They understood the institutions established by the Constitution to be republican.
That's right.
In fact, though the founders believed in government of the people, by the people, for the people, as
So I have a
Abraham
question
Lincoln
for
put
that.
it in the Gettysburg
Hey,
Address,
Mike, I think he said
they
positive.
did not believe.
I'm pausing it, man.
All right. So I'm enjoying the video. Hi, everybody. It's great.
Good
to
seeing
see
you guys.
guys.
This is Brick Jones. He's first time on our show, July 4th, Independence Day. Give him a bunch of ones and a bunch of oorahs and a bunch of OTVOs for him.
Can
in
I
the sidebar.
put a disclaimer to Brick real quick before he
Do
starts?
it.
Brick, I have my live premiere in 41 minutes. Make it short.
No problem, brother man. I will not go on diatribe. Yeah.
Hey, there's fireworks going off outside all over the place. So if you hear a big explosion, it's okay.
Let him talk.
Happy fourth.
Hoorah.
So it is an interesting point of contention for me as far as natural law goes, maritime law, that sort of thing. You know, I noticed that the video did mention that the founders recognized a Republican government, and as far as the social contract itself goes, and I don't want to go too far with it. As the social contract itself goes, I do agree with that. But the foundation, I'm interested in the foundation. But go on with the video from there. I do agree with the social contract.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because the idea is so everybody, I want you to know about a little bit that's different about my channel is that I don't try to attack people because they have a different point of view. I want to learn. And you see Republicans and Democrats, they'll just attack each other because that's what big corporations want. But under a Republican form of government, the rights of the individual are what mattered. And that is the enemy of corporate America. They don't want individual rights. They want a majority, because if they can convince just that extra 1%, they can steal everything from you, brother and sisters. And that's what's really going on. You guys need to wake the F up. So we're going to go ahead and keep playing this bad chicken.
The cops I deal with always say it doesn't matter.
Well, the cops that you deal with went to a junior college to learn how to become police.
In pure or unrestricted democracy. They feared that democracy, strictly speaking, contained within it the impulse to mob rule, the stifling of civil liberty, the trampling by majorities of the rights of minorities. To put it more bluntly, pure democracy frightened them. So while they built into the Constitution significant...
And by the way, that is why Martin Luther King supported a Republican form of government, because he recognized that the same thing could happen again, that once a majority gets in power, they can trample the rights of the minority. And in his case, he supported creating parallel systems where he basically blockaded shopkeepers who wouldn't deal with the African Americans, and he forced them ultimately to deal with them. And that was the guys like Byrd and ultimately like the Bidens. Those were the shopkeepers. Here we go.
Democratic elements. They also built in non-democratic features to protect liberty and prevent tyranny. It wasn't simply that they favored representative government over direct democracy, though they did. It's that they rejected the idea that the majority wins was by definition the just outcome. Indeed, in what is perhaps the most famous of the 85 Federalist Papers, Federalist 10, James Madison, precisely in distinguishing a democracy, which he did not favor, from a republic, which he did, noted that a crucial advantage of republicanism is to refine the public views by passing them through the medium of a chosen body of citizens whose wisdom may best discern the true interests of the country.
Amen.
And so we have representative government. And more than that, we have a bicameral, that is, two-tiered legislature, a Congress with a highly democratic House of Representatives and a not very democratic Senate. Therefore, California, with its massive population, has 52 representatives in the House. Wyoming has 1.
And by the way, so California was able to do that, say many, by using illegal aliens, because they know that the census is used to create more representatives in the Electoral College. So by flooding the country with illegal aliens, California was able to displace their Republican majority with a Democrat majority, because what they did is they flooded illegal aliens into Democratic strongholds in California, like Santa Ana, for example. And they were able to get rid of guys like B1 Robert Dornan and William Dannemeyer and guys like that. So I just wanted you guys to understand the reason why they're flooding the country with illegal aliens, because the far Marxist left wants to create a single party system for the entire country, just like they were able to create in California. And that's just obvious. Anybody who's a critical thinker can see that with their own eyes.
Yet Wyoming has 2 senators, the same number as California and every other state. A pure Democrat would say that's unfair. Each Wyoming resident has far more power than every Californian. But a Republican would say, well, we aren't and shouldn't be a pure democracy. If we were, large population states like California would overwhelm the needs and interests of small population states like Wyoming. That's why we're called the United States of America. Each state has its own separate identity, holds its own separate elections. Just as we don't want one person or small group of people to dominate our government, we don't want one state or a few states to dominate our government. A republic is a way of diffusing power. And
what's up? You say something?
Yeah, so too late.
Too late. It's only a few more minutes, guys.
Brilliant one at that. We see something similar in the Constitution's procedures for choosing a president. An obvious possibility would have been by a national popular vote. The founders wisely decided against this option. Rather, they created an electoral college to protect the interests of the less populous states. Even today, their decision makes sense. As my Princeton colleague, Professor Alan Gelzo, observes, a direct national popular vote would incentivize campaigns to focus almost exclusively on densely populated urban areas.
That's right.
The electoral college system incentivizes candidates to court voters more broadly, making presidential elections more fully national. So if we understand the system of government our founders bequeathed to us,
if you want to understand it, think of it this way. If you guys saw the videos of the dudes up in San Francisco walking around naked in front of little kids and peeing in each other's mouths, that's what you're going to get. Sodom and Gomorrah would be running this country. And so that's your choice.
we will see why they preferred to describe it as a republic rather than a democracy. Of course, it has strong democratic elements, but America was not created to be a pure democracy for very good reasons. Those reasons remain as valid today as they were in 1789. We should not go along with those who today are demanding constitutional changes simply because this or that institution or procedure established by the Constitution, say the Senate or the Electoral College, is not democratic. More democratic doesn't necessarily mean better. It doesn't necessarily mean more just. Our founders understood this. So should we. We have a republic, and we should keep it. I'm Robert George, McCormick Professor of Jurisprudence and Director of the James Madison Program at Princeton University for Prager University.
He's a total corn-fed Republican.
I don't know, man. I think that, I don't know. I think that a lot of the stuff that he had to say was real valid when it came to individual rights and the majority not being able to trample on the rights of the individual. But I want to hear what you two guys have to say.
I'll let Brick go first, because
All right.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with speaking on this a little bit. So just in reference to the foundation, I'm not against having a Republican form of government per se, or democracy per se, and we could certainly have an argument based on contentions from which one is better this way or that way. As far as the foundation itself, right? A lot of people, and I'm sure that many people would believe that the Constitution is the foundation. Myself, I recognize the Declaration of Independence as the foundation, right?
Yeah.
And so what that means for me is that when I look to see where the law might come from, I would actually go to that document if I was looking for foundation. The Constitution actually, in my view, actually kind of puts out the idea that certain laws are not to be enacted, right? So in my view, that's actually an anti-law document. It will tell you which laws are not appropriate to be put into place. And so if we're looking, perhaps in my view, to see what law is appropriate, the Declaration of Independence actually establishes a basis for law. And so that is natural law. So it talks about nature's God, right? The God of nature, or if there's not a creator, perhaps, but it does speak of a creator, right? And so that creator, if he is a creator, or if it's not a creator, wherever it came from, wherever existence came from, there exists within the existence we have nature. And that nature has certain laws about it. And we know the principles and the laws of physics, the theories of physics, thermodynamics, all these extra theories and things that have been proven throughout history and time, the tested theories. Those laws of nature exist. It's just a fact. So, borrowed over from maritime law is the law of nature, right? So, to give a kind of an example, every ship has a captain and a crew. if a crew decides to mutiny, another captain has to be chosen, right? And that's just natural. Somebody has to lead. As human beings, we need someone to make the choices for us, right? So naturally, we might choose who's that leader. We could certainly choose ourselves.
That makes sense.
Right? I could choose myself as the leader, self-proclaimed king or captain, right? But the basis, the foundation of the law is natural law, because the founders recognized that no matter what, worst case scenario, if it goes all the way back to we must choose a captain, that's just natural, right? So that point of contention, it's not to say that perhaps a Republican government or a democracy might be better as far as a government or a governmental system, but the foundation needs to be based in reality. So if that reality is natural law, then ultimately you need to choose wisely.
And Brick, my contention is that natural law, a Republican form of government, embodies natural law. And that's why our founding fathers chose a Republican form of government over a democracy. And they, in fact, despised democracy, because democracy literally means mob rules. And no democracy has ever lasted. And that's why I created the slideshow. The only thing that, in my opinion, a democracy helps is a Leviathan, is a corporate controlled government, because if they can just get that extra 1%, they can destroy the rights of the minority, like the Nazis did to the Jews from 1920 up until 1945. And I wanted to know what you thought about that.
Sure. Yeah. And so that is actually very much accurate. When you go with ad populum, typically what happens that if you go with like 51% for the example.
When you say ad populum, tell us what you mean, brother. I want the audience to know what you mean.
So ad populum, I do believe that's Latin for that it's the popular vote, right?
Yep.
So whoever the popular vote goes for, when you say ad populum, it could be a debate, right? And then all of the crowd votes that this is the winner or that is the winner. That's not always accurate to truth for morality, right? And so with morality, there's a certain degree of intent there, right? An idea that needs to be declared. What is the best course of action, right? And so if there is a good course of action, we'll call it good, the objective truth of good, right? If there's a good course of action, what is that good course of action? Ad populum, in my opinion, is not going to get it done. Wisdom, in my opinion, would get it done. And so we do have systems at play within this country that kind of weed out the idiots. There are some idiots out there, okay? And so the systems that we have in play typically breed a decent decorum within the government, typically. Unfortunately, bad people do bad things. Yeah. And so you get people in power that pass certain types of laws, or case law gets approved that's absolutely disgusting. Things like Terry versus Ohio.
That's what Chile talks about.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
That's right.
And so there's a whole lot of problems. It's not just Terry versus Ohio. You know, if it was up to me, I'd take it all the way back to the 10th Amendment before the clauses. But that's just me. But as far as the foundation goes, natural law goes, if there is a system at play that works better than others, in my opinion, just in my opinion, a Republican form of government does work better than a democracy. Absolutely, 100% every single time. Unfortunately, like I said, we do deal with bad men of bad faith at times.
Yeah. That's the big problem with the democracy, is you get like a Hitler. He used democracy and used it to get in power. And then look what he did to the minority. Look what he did to the minority population. I mean, he literally like destroyed all of his minority population. And that ultimately led, believe it or not, to the Islamization in the 2020s of Germany. It's a big problem.
Oh, you don't have any papers? Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers?
Is that what you were kind of trying to tell me?
Yeah. Not to mention hellos for suckers.
Hello is for suckers. Hey, by the way, everybody, I want you guys to know this is the first time I've ever had Brick Jonesy on. And this show today is about, supporting the constitutional republic, talking about the difference between a democracy and a republic. And what's really cool is I have some scholars on, especially Brick, who spent a lot of time really educating himself on the 10th Amendment, the Articles of Confederation, the Declaration of Independence, the Magna Carta. He really understands the English common law history in the transition from English common law into American common law. And this isn't something that they really teach you in law schools. And academia has no interest in teaching you that the rights of the individual are more important than the rights of the majority, because their corporate sponsors and their Confucian societies from communist China, that would fly in the face of everything they stand for, which is ultimate and absolute power and the destruction of individual rights. And so that's why I have Brick on today. Go ahead, Brick. Talk to us more, buddy.
Sure. So I've heard Chili say it. Rule of law works. It works, right? We've seen it, right? There are some objective moralities, right, that we can go by.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, don't get naked in front of little children when they're kindergartners.
Right, absolutely. I mean,
like they're doing in San Francisco and they're advertising on the White House lawn.
Yeah, there's certain objective truths to morality, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, treat others like you would want to be treated is kind of the golden rule. But as far as like some of the basics, right? Don't steal from your neighbor. Don't kill others. Don't kick your dog. Those objective moral truths are pretty much self-evident. And so that would go against the basis of what would be natural, right? And the founders, of course, they recognized that, right? And so if they recognized that, they would obviously want to set up a form of government, a form of rule of law, if you will.
Yeah.
Statutory code, ordinances, whatever you want to call it, as long as it follows a certain type of morality, it's going to go well with you if it follows the natural order of things.
Right. But Brick, the problem that I'm having with like my audience, like people who are trying to bring into the natural law movement, is that they really believe that America is a democracy and that our founding fathers supported the concept of a democracy. When I tell them none of our founding fathers and none of our documents even mention the word, it didn't come out until the communists started trying to take over our college system. We didn't even hear about any of this stuff. And I wanted to see what you had to say about that.
Yeah, sure. No problem. As far as the college system, what we're taught in the schools, there's a whole lot of problems of what individuals are being taught in the schools. When you send your children off to some, 4-year college or something, you're expecting that they would receive some type of a decent education, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, the public schooling system isn't really offering that. And so what's happened is a deterioration over the years. The studies are presenting things in a twisted light.
Yeah.
They use their statistics, they use their basis of theory at times to formulate certain narratives. And they've done this for many, many, many years. And unfortunately, we've seen extreme deterioration. And that deterioration has gone all the way to the point of that you said it. They allow children to view certain types of activities. And that's just disgusting, right? That's not natural.
in the books in the school libraries too, they meet the legal definition of pornography under federal law, yet somehow these public school teachers, they're fresh out of like Columbia with the rainbow flags everywhere, have convinced like guys like Newsom and Attorney General Bonta in California that that's perfectly okay. And now we've seen images the other day of dudes running around naked in front of little kids and peeing in each other's mouths. And I just want to know, like, do you think that's normal, brother? Because like, it makes me want to leave the country. I've got kids. I want to know what y'all have to think about that.
Sure. I mean, I don't want to take up all of the time. If BZ wants to respond to anything, you're more than welcome to, brother.
Well, I want to hear what everybody has to say, you know?
Right.
I was just wondering if Walker Kennedy over there was done taking the oxygen out of the room.
Oh, goodness. Yeah.
Well, check this out, guys. I got this slideshow for you if you want to look at what our founding fathers said about democracy versus Republican form of government. You guys want to comment on that?
Dude, I fell asleep, man, about halfway through Brick talking. So
I figured. Well, all right. Well, real quick.
Payback for him falling asleep during my live stream earlier. So
James Madison said democracies have never been spectacles of turbulence and contention, have ever been spectacles of turbulence and convention, have ever been found incompatible with personal security or the rights of property, and have in general been as short in their lives as they have been violent in their deaths. And we've seen that with all the riots going on, right? Like the BLM riots. That's a pure democracy. Then you look at Alexander Hamilton. We are now forming a Republican form of government. Real liberty is not found in the extremes of democracy, but in the moderate governments. If we incline too much to democracy, we shall soon shoot into monarchy or some other form of dictatorship. And so, Brick, a lot of the things that you were saying really rang true to me, because the Declaration of Independence was a Republican document. It was designed to prevent a majority from usurping, or even a minority from usurping the rights of the individual. It didn't distinguish between it didn't distinguish between minority or majority. Rather, it distinguished between the rights of the individual, you, and the rights of the majority. And I believe that it was Benjamin Franklin or Jefferson who said a democracy is two wolves and a lamb showing up for dinner and deciding what's on the table to eat, and that a republic was two wolves and a well-armed sheep showing up to decide what's on the menu. And that's the difference. And we see that under a democratic form of government, the first order of the day is to disarm the populace. And so when we see these things, it makes us wonder, does it not, Brick and BZ?
What?
am I supposed to be talking here?
Anybody?
More than welcome. Hey, unless you want me to talk, I'm more than willing to.
Okay, I'll go
I
back.
want to hear what Brick's got to say, brother.
I'll go back to sleep. I'll go take my nap.
Shit. Just read what Thomas Jefferson has to say, what's up on the screen about democracy.
All right, let me read
Oh, you
it.
gotta know.
It says, a democracy is nothing more than mob rule,
Amen.
where 51% of the people may take away the rights of the other 49. All two will bear in mind this sacred principle, that though the will of the majority is in all cases to prevail, that will to be rightful must be reasonable. That's what BZ always talks about.
Unreasonable, because I can't find anything goddamn reasonable.
That the minority possess their equal rights.
That's
which
it.
Equal law must protect, and to violate would be oppression.
Yep.
Yeah,
So go ahead, BZ.
I was gonna say that's what I fight on the streets all the time, oppression, because they hate that camera, man.
That's true.
Militarized jackboot thug pigs.
Hey, look, Carolina Fort Worth joined us. How you doing, Carolina? I hope you're doing okay, honey.
Not me. I hope she's doing horrible. She keeps like returning my calls and going straight to voicemail. She won't answer the damn phone anymore.
Well, I worry about her. If I'll be honest
know.
with you. If it was me, I would not let her out of the house. I'd make sure she was getting the best medical treatment possible and out of the eye of the public.
I'm going to tell you right now, if she doesn't answer my call soon, I'm going to make her eye, the other eye look the same. I'm going to make it match.
Well, we all care about you, Carolina, and we hope that you get better. And I feel terrible about what happened to you. If I was there, I'd probably be in prison right now. So, it's
Carolina,
good that I'm here to be able
Carolina,
to
call me after the live stream, Carolina.
Yeah, I feel bad for her, guys. Everybody, make sure to like and subscribe to Carolina's channel and give her a lot of, wishes and stuff. She's got the balls to go out there and fight like Chile did. And, we're talking on the 4th of July and we see the same exact crap happening.
Oh, hey, no, she wasn't. No, she wasn't fighting, but she learned how to take a hit. All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just keep on coming.
That's right. But what I'm saying is, there's guys like you and her and Chile and Brick and all these guys out there advocating for their unalienable God-granted rights. And we see they're being painted by the administrative state as like violent extremists. And all they want is the charter that was promised to us by our creator as embodied in our Declaration of Independence and our Bill of Rights, as established by the teachings of John Locke and others before him. And so that's why
she's the queen of cop watching, because I don't know anybody that has her numbers that does what she does. So she's the queen.
I don't know about numbers, but I like her spunk and I like it that she's a fighter. But I think that she also needs to, right now, after what happened to her, needs to be out of public and getting the best treatment possible. I'm just telling you this as a brain injury attorney. It makes all the difference in the world that you get the best treatment possible, especially if you have family and kids and you want to be around for them. Brain injuries are a real problem and they can destroy your life.
All the cops I've seen the last 2 nights, I swear to God, they got Kruger body doubles out there hiding him because they all look like him.
Well, at least we know that Benjamin Franklin said democracy is 2 wolves and a lamb voting on what to have for lunch. That's what I was trying to tell you guys earlier. Liberty is a well-armed lamb contesting the vote. Now, I challenge you guys, you, Brick, or anybody, to go on to the Rainbow Flag Mafia college campuses, right, where they have the safe spaces because they want to separate the races and make everybody the enemy of one another. I challenge you to go on to any academic institution, even a public school anywhere. I challenge you to present this quote to them and see how they react, because they're the ones who want to take away your right to defend your family. Remember that.
Yeah,
So
I was just going to say, they're going to twist it. That was just going to say it. They were literally going to just twist it. Yep, exactly.
That's right. But that was the reality, because these people had been denied their right of representation. They had been targeted politically, just like some political figures are being targeted right now, because they support one side of the political spectrum that the majority doesn't. And so, actually, the corporations that pay for everything don't support. Because the objective corporations, if they can just cover with their advertising money and their for-profit media, get enough propaganda to get that extra little 1% under a democracy, a civil law democracy, which is what you would have in Europe or South or Central America, then you would be able to completely, as Obama would say, fundamentally transform, because that's what the Democrats want to do. They want to fundamentally transform us from a constitutional republic into a civil law democracy. And it's very easy for a monarch or a despot to control a democracy, because all they need is that extra 1%. Whereas a constitutional republic, the government is bound by the chains of the Constitution. And so that's the problem we're facing is we have, and I know, Brick, we've had conversations about this before, but we know that our current government is inviting illegal aliens to come up here using taxpayer-funded nonprofit organizations. And they're bringing people up here who have never had to go through a citizenship test or anything to learn about our republic, but they come from a civil law democracy. And that's what the Democrats want. They want people who come from a civil law democracy. They don't want people who grew up understanding the concept of individual unalienable rights. And that's the problem I have without vetting people. They could be communists, they could be terrorists, or people who don't support our country, be communist Chinese. And we don't want those people in our country. And I wanted to finally have you on the show because I wanted you to be able to present your position on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, I'm going to talk.
Yeah, do it, brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
No, you know, they're
That's Kennedy Walker's little brother.
yeah, right. Yeah, I guess I'm over here talking to Kennedy Walker's big brother.
The only thing we're missing is the supremacy clause and sovereign citizen versus the 1A debate.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Hey, he's got to pay me. So first I'd like to speak about the immigrant issue. Yeah, because that was the thing I do believe you left off.
Illegals. They're not supposed to be here and they're getting free shit. They shouldn't be here. That's what I say.
Well, if you're not here legally, okay, what that means is that you haven't. So let me start it out like this. There's nothing wrong with looking at another human being and saying that's another human being. Okay, let's start with that premise. However, what happens is that there are human beings that do not understand what certain cultures, what certain aspects or principles are, right? Like natural law, right? Like a Republican form of government, like a democracy. There's certain forms and systems that are already in play. And so when you just walk into it's like walking into somebody's house and telling them that you're going to restructure their family, right? There's a family order, and let's say, for instance, that the family is the dad is the head of the household, mom is, going to watch over the children, and the children, big brother watches over the other children when mom and dad aren't in the house. But let's say a stranger that you've invited, right? You've invited him over, and he tells the children,
like a public school teacher with a rainbow flag in their
right.
Desk.
He comes into the house. The parents aren't there, right? But Big Brother is there. And he starts telling Big Brother that we're going to change the arrangement, that the littlest brother is going to be able to tell the biggest brother what to do now. But that's not what the parents set into place, right? That's their home. This is their home. And somebody who you've invited in comes in and tells the individuals in that neighborhood, we're going to change that structure. Well, you can't just do that. We've already got well-established laws and structures. And if you change that, one, it's going to upset the balance. That's just a fact of the reality. But then what you're going to do actually is you're going to completely obliterate any principles that were behind any of that. So if you're going to just come in and say your principles don't matter, those are ideas that we as individuals already have. Things like liberty, life, the pursuit of happiness.
We'd like to think we do. We'd like to think we do, but our government's constantly trying to take them away from us, right?
Well, if they overload, it's like this, okay? Say that busload of illegals, as you call it, or immigrants, whatever you want to call them, they're dropped off in your front yard, and they just walk right in, and they say, we're going to do things this way, right?
Yeah.
Who was at fault for that? Was it the immigrants, the illegals that got dropped off, or was it the bus driver? Or was it the individuals who paid for the driver?
I agree with you. I've had this debate with a family member. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. They were invited here.
Right.
I get you, brother. No, you're right. And I agree with that. I'm a compassionate guy. It's just like what George Washington said in this quote up here, right? That's what he's saying right there in this quote, that when this kind of stuff happens, people get roused to action. And that's what happened is the French Revolution. You see that democracies, every single democracy has devolved into a violent revolution. When Robespierre took over France, violent revolution. Democracy in Germany, Hitler. Democracy in the Soviet Union, Stalin. That is the result of every single democracy that we've seen throughout history, is it not?
It absolutely is. And see, what does happen throughout history, and history, it seems that is the best teacher, the experiences, the things that we've read about. When somebody comes into your home and says we're going to change things, you're gonna push back. It's just what it is natural,
Yeah.
And it's like getting bored. I like to use the analogy of two ships on the sea, right? Perhaps a pirate ship or just a passing ship that is boarded or boards the other, and then you're trying to change the structure of the other ship. Well,
that's right. Boom, dude, you just nailed it. That's the problem with illegal immigration. They come from a civil law democracy. They're taught that it's a single party rule, like in Mexico. They have to do whatever they're told. They're going to get locked up. They have no civil rights. They're coming up to California. Man, Newsom loves these guys. They're terrified. All they do is work, and they send all their paychecks south of the border. Is that not true?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. So, I love the analogy of two ships at sea because there is absolutely structure on both ships. Yep. One ship might be running smoothly in one regard, and the other one might be running smoothly in the other regard.
Yeah.
However, from the outside perspective, you're going to look at it and say, okay, which one would I board? Would it be?
Well, I'd rather, honestly, brother, I'm going to be honest with you right now. Probably the Latin ship, because they have traditional family values that have been abandoned by this country.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree. Right.
1000%.
The one with the fine morals.
Absolutely, man. Having kids, I don't want my kids anywhere near this crap that's going on in this country, brother.
Right. And so it's just the foundation of reality, which is natural law.
Yep.
That's why this country is so beautiful, right? We have that foundation. Our founders recognized that. They borrowed over from maritime law the reality of natural law.
Isn't that
and there
amazing?
It is.
Yep.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yep.
So we have the systems of government at play. There are some problems within it, like Terry versus Ohio, the things that need to be overturned, changed laws, things like that. But rule of law does work. I don't want it to be twisted. There is no rebellion necessarily entirely at the moment. Let's put it that way. Right? Yep. We have our Second Amendment if it's necessary, but at the moment, we can use the court system. We can use it. There's two. All it takes
is Michelle Obama, and you will have no more Second Amendment in about 4 years.
That's pretty good.
I'm just being honest with you. That's the problem with the democracy. Under a constitutional republic, that Second Amendment would never even be on the table.
Well, certain types of principles and individuals, right? They're there and they're prevalent. And
give me a bunch of ones in the sidebar if you support the Second Amendment as the most important amendment. Anyway, sorry, Brick.
You're good. Okay. Here's another concept.
Oh wait, super chat, Gloria. Thank you so much.
Nice.
And I think that's more for you joining me today than it is for this show. So
cool.
I owe Brick Jonesy $5. Thank you, Gloria F, for supporting me and Brick. Hoorah, Semper Fi. Go ahead, Brick. Didn't mean to throw you off.
Cool, man. Man, you did throw me off too. I was gonna say something so smart, but
that damn freaking indica just messes us up, brother.
Oh man, natural law. Yeah. Well, it's interesting how that the founders recognized that nature takes a certain course, right? So the systems that we have in play, I just want to reiterate that it works. Unfortunately, we do have some bad actors, and we also have some already. Oh yeah. To say
Larry Fink with BlackRock, he owns where they own almost every corporation. They're forcing all this sexual ideology on kindergartners. It's ridiculous, man. Dude, I got buddies from the Marines who are gay and stuff, dude. They're absolutely sickened by this crap that they're trying to push on us, man. So I know this is not like us against them. This is just some sick mother effers who are trying to be around little kids, man.
That's absolutely correct, man. They are pushing it. They're pushing it hard, man. Yeah. But I'm a solutions guy, right? This is just me. I'm a solutions guy. And so if you'd ask me, what's the solution to the problem? Well, there's more than one. One of them is to elect the right individuals, which sometimes can be very difficult for various reasons. One of them being is cheating, right? That happens. I know people don't want to believe it. It happens on
voting machine. Do you really trust voting machines? Give me a break.
Right.
Especially when the guy's selling the voting machines or leasing them cuts deals with the governor, and the governor gets kickbacks.
Right.
And like the guy selling the machines literally has the power to decide who gets elected, and the government gets some kind of a kickback, or his wife or his kids. Why don't we just have hand counter votes? Why do we have vote by mail? People, if they really care about their country, they should have the balls to show up and freaking sign a document. Yes or no? Why is that so hard, Rick?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you really want to see a change, you have to get involved. Right. And so that brings me to my second point, right? Which is that if you're going to get involved, are you just going to leave it at a vote? If you vote, right, and then you don't follow up on that vote to make sure that things are taken care of, then you just put a vote down on a person who might have bad faith, right? So you check up on them. There's certain things that you can do, right? You can go in and do some records requests, see what the statutes that have been passed actually look like. Look at the statutes. Are the statutes in line with reasonable qualities in natural law? Or are they some ridiculous case law like Terry versus Ohio, right? And so if it looks bad, then, of course, you've got some options in that. Solutions, right? Shaming, public shaming. It works, right?
Yeah, shunning,
Filming.
like the Amish and the Mennonites.
Right?
I agree, dude. 1,000%.
Filming. Film the cops. Film the public servants. Film them all. Put them all on camera. They're in the public eye. They're in the public scrutiny.
Agreed.
Shame them. Let them know that what they are doing is wrong. It's improper. It's immoral. It's not necessarily a Christian value that has to make it immoral. You know, there are certain innate immoral activities, and we know those activities. Number one, and first and foremost, you don't kill people for nothing. You defend yourself, sure. You don't just go up and hurt people, period, done. And putting people in torture cuffs, handcuffs, whatever you want to call them, these chains. Yeah. It's disgusting.
It is.
It's disgusting. You don't do that to human beings. And so it's really certain things that when we see it in our hearts, we're taken back by it. And there's a reason for that. It's your conscience playing on you. That's what it is. It's your innate conscience. It comes from, in my opinion, a certain place. But if it comes from that place or not, it doesn't matter. It's there. Your morality is built within you. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. And so, of course, you want to check up on the government. You want to make sure they're doing the right or wrong thing. And if they're not doing the right or wrong thing, you can move them about. It's like chess, you know. You move the pieces here, you move the pieces there. Some games you win, some games you lose.
Hold up, dude. I super chat. Ralph Riley just threw $2. He said George Washington was a state citizen. Look what George Washington said, Ralph. He said it is among the evils, and perhaps not the smallest, of democratic governments, that the people must feel before they will see. When this happens, they are roused to action. Hence, it is that those nations are rescued by revolutions and civil wars, and that's what happened with Robespierre. What keeps happening in every democracy is all you see is revolution after revolution. And you see as America becomes more democratized, you see revolutions in the streets. And that's what I really appreciate about Ralph, is that he recognizes that. Go ahead, BZ and Brick and everybody, keep on talking. And happy 4th, everybody.
Happy 4th. Happy 4th of July. Happy Independence Day. Celebrate your Independence Day. Remember, 1776. Yeah. Say it again.
We got 6 minutes. We gotta close this out. Everybody go to BZ Watchdog's channel in 6 minutes. I'm going to let Brick Jonesy close this out for the 4th of July. Brick, one thing I wanted to ask you is, I know that there is an issue about when
you have your papers.
Yeah. Aber when was the Declaration of Independence signed? Some people say it was July 2nd. July 2nd. Right? I want to know what you think, man. Was it July 2nd?
Well, so it took days for everybody to get to signing it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so there wasn't one single day, right? So, you know, that's the way a delegation works typically. you could have some people sign or vote on certain things, certain days and all that. But ultimately, we do recognize the 4th of July to be that day of independence.
But hold on, Brick. Do you think if a British constable caught one of the founders, he would ask them,
Where are your papers, Mav? Where are they? Oh, you don't have any papers?
what do you think? Would he have asked that, or?
Oh yeah, he'd have been in a concentration camp. Absolutely.
So look, guys, we got to close this out, Brick, but I want to have you on again because I really appreciate having someone on who's so learned and studied in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, natural law, somebody who's an actual student of John Locke. I want the people in the sidebar to understand something. Just because somebody has a law degree or a bar card, it doesn't make them any more intelligent than anybody else. It just means that they have a bar card and a law license, and an academic degree is meaningless. What matters is your heart and your soul and how you feel as a person, that you respect and appreciate your neighbors, and that you have mutual respect and you're courteous, considerate, and kind to others. That's what matters, guys. Be courteous, considerate, and kind to others. Never try to force your moral depravity on children also. Always remember that. So, guys, we've only got a couple minutes. Ralph Riley, you joined us a little late. I really appreciate it, man. Ralph Riley, really quick, he said, free yourself by correcting your status. Unless you were born in the District of Columbia, you are not a U.S. citizen. And so Ralph has that view, and there's many, many people who have that view, and they've been painted by the government and by the academic institutions as crazies and, you know, undesirables or whatever. And I want to tell you that there's a place for you in this world, and you can develop parallel systems the same way that Martin Luther King did. There's no reason why you should be criticized or ridiculed because you have a different point of view than someone else, as long as you're not harming them or trying to flood the country with people who want to do you harm. So with that being said, it looks like we only have a few minutes. So guys, why don't Brick and BZ Watchdog look in the sidebar and just say hi to everyone, try to answer any questions, because I really am big on audience engagement, and then I'll close it out, okay? Go ahead, guys.
BZ, anything? Nothing?
Dr. Donna Walter says my opponent is an ordained minister and primes bills that support the mutilation of children. And I'm seeing that happen a lot in California. I represent a family where one of their family members had her body parts removed because she was brainwashed by her doctors and a bunch of radical freaking weirdos. And now she's suing after she reached the age of majority. So there's a lot of stuff going on, man. Leave the freaking kids alone, guys. Wait until they're adults at least. Like, why do you want to be around children? Like, why do you have to do that? Why do you want to be around my kids? You're inviting destruction upon your house when you want to do that. Now, Gloria Ad says, everybody be safe. Thanks, Gloria Ad, for joining us. And it says, Dr. Donna Walter says the Declaration of Independence was signed. I think that's what she means by the date. Ralph Riley, of course, thanks for coming. I'm going to have Ralph Riley on again. I wanted to have him on today, but he wanted to go out riding. Ralph's a biker, so that's not going to happen. And so we got Donna Walter, Salty Buckeye again. Thanks. Salty Buckeye says again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And what do you think? What you think he only offered that to Jesus? Yeah, he offers that to everybody, right? The principalities of power offer you control over everything. Guys, go to BZ Watchdog's channel right now. He's going to hopefully do a nice live for you. Thanks, Brick, for showing up.
Live premiere of my an audit at the Arlington Police Department.
All right, cool.
OTVO.
I don't know if I'm going to be back tomorrow, guys, but I just want you guys to know, God bless you. Semper Fidelis. America still is the greatest nation on earth, but we do need to take it back from the communists and Marxists and pedophiles who are trying to destroy this country. Semper Fi, do or die. I really hope that you guys have a terrific 4th of July. Hoorah! And peace and